Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha. In the last class, we saw about the characteristics of a Bhashyam, of a commentary, and we saw how Swami Ramanuja's Śrī Bhāṣyam was a commentary to Vedanta Sutras of Vedavyasa Maharishi. The 5 characteristics were Padachhedaha, Padartha Uktihi, Vigrahaha, Vakya Yojana, Akshepasya Samadhanam, Vyakhyanam, Panchalakshanam. These were the 5 characteristics of a Vyakhyanam, of a commentary. First, there has to be a Padachheda done, splitting the words. The sutras are small sentences, they consist of words. First, the words have to be split. That is Padachhedaha, then Padartha Uktihi. The commentator, in our case Swami Ramanuja, he has to give the meaning of each split word. Padartha Uktihi. Then there could be compound words in those sentences. Vigrahaha. You have to split the compound word and then give the meaning into how the compound word was formed. This is something specific to Sanskrit language, that is Vigrahaha. Then Vakya Yojana. The fourth part is Vakya Yojana. You have to give the meaning of the entire sentence. Then Akshepasya Samadhanam. Once you give the meaning of the entire sentence, there could be akshepas, there could be objections raised on the conveyed meaning. You have to give samadhanam for those akshepas. You have to give answers for those, refute those objections. So these are the 5 parts of a commentary. And in the last class, we saw how Swami Ramanuja's Bhashyam on the first sutra, how it had all these 5 characteristics. Now in this class, we can see the structure of Śrī Bhāṣyam. How is Śrī Bhāṣyam divided, how it is structured. Śrī Bhāṣyam is divided into 4 Adhyāyas. Vedanta Sutras are divided into 4 Adhyāyas. So its commentary, Śrī Bhāṣyam, is naturally divided into 4 Adhyāyas. Adhyāyas can be thought of as chapters. And in each Adhyāya, you have Pādas, which can be thought of as sub-chapters. You have 4 Pādas in every Adhyāya. Pada means quarter. So, you're going to have 4 quarters, 4 Pādas in each Adhyāya. 4 Adhyāyas, and every Adhyāya has 4 Padams. That means there are in total 16 Padams in Śrī Bhāṣyam. And in each of these Padams, you will have a lot of Adhikaraṇas. What an Adhikaranam does is, it takes a passage, a Upanishad passage, and it analyzes that passage. What could be the Purvapaksham of that passage? Purvapaksham means, at first glance, we get to see that Upanishad passage, and at first glance, we would have some sort of an understanding. That understanding might not be right. And that understanding could be an opinion of some other person who is not from Vedanta school, or someone who has not understood Vedanta school correctly. So these are the different pakshas, different opinions that could get formed. An opinion that we could form ourselves at first glance, since we have not applied all the logic. And then there could exist an opinion of some other person not belonging to Vedanta school, or some person who has not studied Vedanta school properly, or who has not studied Vedanta properly. So all these pakshas, these opinions, they are Purva Pakshas. So the Adhikaranam, what it does, it analyzes a specific passage of Vedanta, of Upanishad. First, it gives us what are the possible Purva Pakshas in that Adhikaranam, and then gives us the analytical tools required to analyze this passage. And in the same way, it also gives the correct meaning of that passage. Vedavyasa does not have to explicitly say that this is the meaning of this passage. Once he gives us the logical tool, the analytical tool required to analyze this passage, we ourselves would get to know the correct meaning of that passage. That is Siddhantam. So, this is what Adhikaranam is about. Adhikaranam is a collection of sutras, a set of sutras. What are these set of sutras going to do? They're going to take a Vedic passage, Vedantic passage. They will tell us what is the possible opinion or the first hand or the opinion at first glance, that is the Purvapaksham. This Adhikaranam will tell what is a possible Purvapaksham that could arise on seeing this Upanishad passage, and then the Adhikaranam will give us the analytical tools required to analyze the Upanishad passage, and then we ourselves can glean the right meaning of that Upanishad passage. And this is how Adhikaranam works. It's going to be a collection of sutras, and each of the sutras in that Adhikaranam are going to have these functions: Purvapaksha Sutras and Siddhanta Sutras. So this is how Śrī Bhāṣyam is structured. We have 4 Adhyāyas, and each Adhyāyam is going to have 4 subchapters, 4 Padams each. In total, we have 16 Pādas in Śrī Bhāṣyam, and in each Padam, there are going to be a lot of Adhikaranams. These Adhikaranams are contained in themselves. What does each Adhikaranam do? It's going to take a Vedantic passage and it's going to do an analysis on that passage. And how does it do an analysis on that passage? Well, it consists of many sutras, and each sutra is going to have a specific function. It's going to be a Purvapaksha Sutra, Siddhanta Sutra, or Akshepa Sutra, or it has some other function. So this is how Śrī Bhāṣyam is designed, this is how it is structured, this is how Vedanta Sutras are structured, and its commentary Śrī Bhāṣyam is also structured in that similar manner. And now, we saw that there are 4 Adhyāyas in Śrī Bhāṣyam. What are these 4 Adhyāyas? The first Adhyāya is Samanvaya Adhyāya. Next is Avirodha Adhyāya. Next is Sādhana Adhyāya. And then the 4th is Phala Adhyāya. The first is Samanvaya Adhyāya. What does this Adhyāya say? This Adhyāya says that all the passages, all the Vakyams in Upanishad that are talking about Jagat Karanam, the creator of the universe, all the Vedantic passages that talk about creation of world, creation of this universe, all those passages, they have Samanvayaha in Parabrahmam. Samanvayaha means they have connection to the Parabrahmam. In essence, Parabrahmam is the creator of this universe. Parabrahma means Chidachit Vilakshana Tattvam. So the first Adhyāya, what it does is, it says that the creator of this universe is not some Achit. It's not just nature that is creating all this stuff, nor is it Jivatmas. It's not that Jivatma, some powerful Jivatma is going to create this world in this Kalpam, and in the next Kalpam some other Jivatma is going to create. No, that's not how creation is going. But the creator of this entire universe is Chidachit Vilakshana Parabrahman. So that's what the first Adhyāya states. It states that Samanvaya, that is the name of the Adhyāya is Samanvaya Adhyāyam. Why is it called Samanvaya Adhyāyam? Samanvayaha means Sambandham. It means connection. All the Vedantic passages that expound the creation of this universe, that talk about the creation of this universe, those Vedantic passages, they find Samanvaya, they find their connection in Parabrahmam, which means that Parabrahmam is the creator of this universe. So that is the meaning, or that is the artham that has been said in the first Adhyāya. In the next Adhyāya, which is the Avirodha Adhyāya, there is a Akshepam upon the first Adhyāya. The first Adhyāya said that Parabrahmam is the creator of this universe. There is an objection being raised. Parabrahmam is avapta samastakamam. It has already got whatever it needs. In such a case, why would Brahman do this creation? This is a job. So who would do a job? Prayojana manudishya mandopina pravartate. That's a saying. It says that even a mandaha, somebody who does not have good IQ, even he would not do a job without any purpose. So Parabrahmam, that is all-knowing, supreme entity, why would it do something when it does not need anything? That is avapta samastakamam. It has already obtained whatever it needs. So then why should it do something? Why should it do creation? Why should it do rakshanam and all those activities? So there is a virodha in saying that Parabrahmam is the creator of this universe. The next Adhyāya, the second Adhyāya, what it does is, it gives samadhanam. it gives an refutation, gives an answer to the objection raised. That is the Avirodha Adhyāya, the second Adhyāya. What it does is, it states that, yes, Parabrahman has obtained whatever it needs, but that Parabrahman can do all this creation and all these activities as a Leela. It does not need anything, it does not need any benefit from doing a creation. It is doing it as a Leela, just like how a Raja, a king who has obtained everything, would still love to play in his garden. He does not have to obtain anything from playing. For him, playing itself is a joy. So in a similar manner, Parabrahman does not need to obtain anything from doing a creation. For it, creation itself is a joy. It's a Leela. So that's what is being said in the second Adhyāyam, which is Avirodha Adhyāyam. Then in the third Adhyāyam, that is the Sādhana Adhyāyam, what is being talked about is Bhakti Yoga. How to attain this Parabrahman? Through Sadhanam, through Bhakti Yogam. That is being talked about in the third Adhyāyam, Sādhana Adhyāyam. Then in the fourth Adhyāyam, Phala Adhyāyam, the Phalam is being talked about. What do we get from doing Bhakti Yogam? We are going to attain Bhagavan Parabrahman. What does attaining Bhagavan mean? What is that Phalam? That is being talked about in the fourth Adhyāya, Phala Adhyāya. So, these are the four Adhyāyas in Śrī Bhāṣyam. First is the Samanvaya Adhyāya, which talks about Parabrahman being the creator of this universe. The second Adhyāya is Avirodha Adhyāya, where there is an objection raised to Parabrahman being the creator, and we have the Samanvaya, we have the refutation for that objection as well. That is in the second Adhyāya, Avirodha Adhyāya. The third Adhyāya is Sādhana Adhyāya. Bhakti Yogam is the Sadhanam to obtain Bhagavan, that is being talked about in the third Adhyāya. And the fourth Adhyāya is Phala Adhyāya. Upon doing Bhakti Yogam, what do we attain? We attain Brahman. What does attaining Brahman mean? That is the Phala Adhyāya being talked about in the fourth Adhyāya. So this is the structure of Śrī Bhāṣyam. In the next episode, we can see how the first Mangala Shlokam of Śrī Bhāṣyam, Akhila Bhuvana, using that Shlokam, how does Swami Ramanuja convey the essence of Śrī Bhāṣyam? We can see about that in the next episode. Srimate Ramanujaya Namah.